Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we drink booze, have beards, and talk books. Each episode, we tackle the best in news and brews, and then we do a deep dive on a free-to-read short story. So why don't you come on in and join us? As always, I am Bob of Tales by Bob.
I'm the ass of the podcast, Derek.
Those of you who listen to our short episodes will know we already started trying to record this episode
Executive
once,
decision.
And we made the call to split that off because we got real sidetracked and make that a short episode. But it was, we had fun. Fuck y'all, it's our podcast.
That's
we'll
right.
do what we want. But we'll stay a little more focused. We're still sipping Rittenhouse. We have killed the bottle.
Oh, it's so good though.
It is super good. It's
so good that when I leave here, I'm probably gonna go buy a bottle of it.
No, it's really not. It's not expensive.
Good.
It's a good. Just good. I mean, room temperature, needs no ice. Just sipping.
This is me again not remembering the name of the rye that we talked about. There was a rye.
Yeah.
Oh, that rye. That's gonna. You know what? I'm definitely going to the liquor store now.
So you can figure out
what the name of that fucking rye was. Damn it.
Yeah. Still sipping that. We may swap to something if we record some short episodes after this. We may see what else I have in the pantry.
Cool.
So let's dive in first to our beard news.
Beard news. Let's go. What you got for me? See,
y'all
hear him laughing real quick? That's because I never actually know what the beard news is. So Bob is tickled.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the Ig Nobel Prize?
Vaguely, I've heard.
All right.
mentioned.
So the Nobel Prize, is awarded for exemplary scientific achievements. The Ig Nobel Prize is different. Now, the common misconception is this, these are really dumb studies. But that's not really what this prize does. It's studies that at face value look really stupid, but actually do reveal something of value.
Provide some value.
Yeah. So, here's a quote for you. A decade ago, during a dispute over sperm whales at an academic conference, a fellow academic raised his fist to University of Utah biology professor David Carrier. He said, "I can hit you with this, but that's not why it evolved."
That's amazing.
Right. So what was the study that this led to?
Yeah. Wait, did they do a study on why hands evolved?
They decided to explore whether beards protect the jaw during fistfights.
So, I feel like we've jokingly discussed this before.
I think so.
I feel like it's going to provide, contusion protection.
Well,
but not blunt force trauma to the brain.
Well, so the study conducted by David Carrier and Stephen Nailway, who's an associate professor of mechanical engineering, and then a recent graduate named Ethan Becerris, they won the 2021 Ig Nobel Peace Prize. So a beard that covers the lower jawbone is one of the primary targets in a fist fight. You're trying to hit that jaw,
right?
They didn't go around punching people. That's why they brought in a mechanical engineer. They knew that they needed engineering expertise in on this. But basically what they did was they covered fake jaws with fur, basically.
Right.
Like sheep's wool and stuff to kind of replicate the
We're not going to have the same coarseness, but okay. All
right. They determined that fully furred samples were capable of absorbing more energy than samples that had been plucked or sheared.
I assume slightly more, not noticeably amount.
It was a noticeable amount.
Really?
Yeah. And so then the argument, then it's like you start examining it. Well, so did we evolve beards
for that?
For that, Now, probably not. It's rare that anything evolves in such a way for one reason. There's typically a
lots
host.
of reasons, right?
But was that a reason why beards became
because if you think
prevalent?
about it from a selection point of view, it's like, okay, maybe people that can survive those attacks would have a better chance of procreating.
Well, or the guys that can take a punch
or more impressive
to women, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. Like, yes, if you
never
if
really
you,
like
if it
at face value, this seems ridiculous.
Yeah,
but also, it's like, huh?
You're like, okay, yeah. Do beards protect your face from fists?
They should just like rename this the bar argument award.
Right.
Like, this is the kind of shit you talk at a bar. And you're like,
yeah.
No, I think it would. I don't know, man.
So I thought that was kind of neat. I whenever I see that these awards have popped up every year, if I see that they have, I go read them to just see what it is.
Every year, I'm friends with some of my professors on Facebook, and every year, one of my favorite professors, Dr. Harris Fain's like, it's another year, and another year I didn't win the Nobel Prize.
But it's also like the Darwin Awards, Mm-hmm. If I see those pop up, I'll check those out.
I've never looked at them.
Oh, it's super depressing. It's like, the person who died because they were shooting off fireworks on top of like 150 drums of oil. They saw the fireball like 23 miles away or something. Like, it was, just stuff like that. It's not.
I like the one we just talked about better. Let's go with that. Yeah. The one that we still learned.
No, well, that's the thing, because that's why I really like the Ig Nobel Prize, because it gets you thinking. If you really look at
it's fun.
The problem is a lot of people just see the headline and they're like, "Oh, well, that's real stupid." But if you actually look into it, it's not.
It's one of those things like, guys, it's not world-breaking knowledge, but it is interesting.
Yeah. To me, I kind of relate it to the how everyone always shit talks the lady with the why we have to have coffee is hot labels on a coffee cup. Oh. Yeah. So this woman sued McDonald's because she spilled hot coffee on herself and got burned. And kind of the story that goes around is like, oh, this dumb woman.
Not from what I understand, that shit was.
She had like 3rd-degree burns over like 40% of her body, and only sued because McDonald's like straight up refused. Like, she didn't go to sue first, but McDonald's basically did an ad campaign to make her look like an idiot. Also, this coffee was served like 40 degrees hotter than it was supposed to have been.
Right, and that's what I heard. Yeah. And I didn't even hear about that until like this year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the common conception is, oh, this frivolous lawsuits. That was that's held up a lot as frivolous lawsuits.
If I've learned anything in the past few years, you can't take anything at face value.
Yeah, and so I view this kind of the same way. Like, if you look at the headline, like, woman sues McDonald's for giving her hot
ridiculous,
coffee,
and then you read it, and you're like, well, no, this isn't ridiculous at all. Actually.
Yeah, but a lot of people just read the headlines, and look, I will readily admit I am guilty of that. Like, I will scroll through. I can't count the number of times someone will be like, oh, did you hear about this? Well, no, I read the headline, kind of deal.
And then you're like, ugh.
Well, it's also one of those things, like, if it's something I feel interested in, I always read the article. But I also don't tend to go around spouting off opinions on shit I haven't read the article about.
I have a tendency to read too deep, so I have to really pick because I'll read the article, then I'll read the source, then I'll find somebody else who wrote an article about the thing and be like,
All right. Now it's time for the booze news. Derek.
Booze. Yes,
this
sir.
is coming out around Halloween.
Candy corn alcohol. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, real quick. We'll go on to that. Candy corn, yay or nay?
A mild yay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. See, me too. People crap on it too much. Is my thing.
Am I going out of my way to eat candy corn? No.
Right.
But if there's a bowl of candy corn here, you'll eat some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going to dress up for Halloween, Derek?
You know me. Yes. I usually don't.
No. Yeah. No. Well, Derek, I found your costume.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Bob, we're friends.
Yes.
You need to be real careful.
No. It's not what you're thinking. It's booze related.
Okay, what we got?
Franzia's new boxed wine Halloween costume can dispense real booze. Here's the quote. Blurring the line between costume and reality, this year's Franzia boxed wine outfit has a trick and a treat up its sleeve. The new design includes an internal side pouch that can carry a full bag of Franzia. When worn over the shoulder underneath the costume, the wearer can dispense wine and become a human box of Franzia.
Wow.
Apparently, they have offered this costume in years past, but it wasn't drink outable. It was you were just a box of wine.
But they were like, you know what, if we're going to do this,
well, that's because how many times have you seen someone dress up as a box of wine? I mean, not in person, obviously, but like online. I've seen, that's not an uncommon costume.
Okay.
And so Franzia was like, fuck this. Fuck people making their own. Give me your money. So,
well, hey, if people want it, you should.
Right? Exactly. So used to you could get one for $25, but this version is $40.
That's literally what I'm saying. It's like, what, 40?
Yeah.
Does that make
but
sense?
totally worth it.
Hell yeah.
So this year's costumes.
Does it come with the alcohol or
no? Well, they couldn't do that because you can't.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So,
unless you were buying it in the liquor store.
Right.
As a gift set.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some places that are selling them together, but so this year's costume now features glow in the dark text and is available in 2 new styles: Franzia Dark Red Blend and Franzia. This is what I would be going with. The rich and buttery Chardonnay.
So here's my question. Where's the spout?
Oh, I'm hoping somewhere inappropriate. There's multiple inappropriate places you could put it. I haven't seen this costume. They didn't have a picture in the article. Ooh, good question, Derek.
Yeah.
That's the hard-hitting journalism we need out here. But no, this was the real takeaway. This is where it gets so cringe. Here's a quote. A quote. Our Franzia Halloween costumes were inspired by our fans, who we fondly call Franz.
That's amazing. What are you talking about? How dare you, of all people, disparage that pun? That should be Franz. What you live for.
Oh my god, it was. I read that and I just stopped. I just fucking stopped.
In my head, I was like, I don't know, Frenatics.
Well, let's be God, I can't. I can't say.
That's
well, yeah. I was about to be like, who the fuck is a fan of boxed wine? But this is the guy who's a fan of Heaven Hill bottom shelf vodka or whiskey. That's not really even whiskey. So maybe I shouldn't be the one to throw stones here. But wow. Man. Well, I like to think that there's a Facebook group on that's called Friends of Franzia. I like to think it's got 120,000 wine.
What are you talking about, dude? That's like a
killers.
subreddit right there.
Yeah, living their best life. And I'm a little jealous I'm not in it, to be frank.
If that's you living your best life, more power to you. But, just
maybe not the best life I would want to lead. Do you? Yeah. I don't think I've ever actually had Franzia.
I feel like I probably have and not known it.
Yeah, we've had it at parties, I know, but if it's a party setting, we've always got liquor. So
yeah, because
you were neither really wine people, really.
No, I did buy.
You did. You get that rosé?
Yeah, I bought a bottle of rosé because a couple of weeks ago, when this comes out, we were playing Dice Throne, which I'm never gonna remember the name of, but that game is really fun.
That game's awesome.
And Amanda gave me a glass of wine, and it was a rosé, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I drank. I was like, it's not pretty good. I've never had any rosé before.
Yeah. For that, I'll say this: I like Moscato, but Keith always gets
sweet.
that Ruscato.
I've had it.
That is good.
No, I have bought that before.
Now, real wine drinkers are probably throwing stuff at the radio right now because they're clearly listening to our podcast on the radio.
Well, I mean, I listen. I've had I've drank Chardonnay and unoaked Chardonnay.
We
other stuff.
Many years ago. I don't think you were in on this, but it was back when me and Bane and Marshall were living together.
Was it the time we bought steaks and red wines? No, I was there for that.
Yeah, and we tried all these wines, and we were like, no.
Yeah, we didn't like them, and those red wines came home with me because we were all unemployed, and I wasn't going to waste that money.
Right,
so.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so
I ended up drinking
the steaks
those.
were real good though.
Steaks
Anthony
were
was
good.
there. Anthony
Yep.
was there. So.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
that's actually something that came up in a conversation at work recently. Is like, I don't drink wine that much, but also when I do, I drink whites. I have not found a red that I like, and I feel like it's because I just stopped looking after that night because I was like, whoa, these are not for me.
Well, my mom is a huge wine drinker, and she's the one who actually advised us on that night.
Right.
We contacted her, like, what wine, like...
Because we had no idea
Because we got 4. I remember we got 4 bottles, like 4 different kinds.
Because we needed to go with something that would go with steaks that we bought.
Yeah, and she gave us 4 recommendations,
Reds
and we were like, nah, bro. There was one I remember that we were like, this isn't terrible, but the other 3, we were like,
yeah.
Nah. You gotta think, this is back when I was drinking Boone's Farm.
Exactly, and that's the thing, is like, I'm a grown-ass man now.
Yeah, I might like it more. You know,
yeah.
I just haven't given it a go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oof. You ready to talk about the story?
Oh, you know it.
The Scarlet Citadel. Robert
Howard.
Howard.
Citadel.
This is the last in our 4-pack of Conan stories.
Yes, sir.
Little background. This is chronologically basically the last short story in the Conan Robert Howard chronology. There's a novel.
Oh, is that a novel?
That comes after this called The Hour of the Dragon, I think.
Okay.
Chronologically. Now, I don't know publication order. I don't know. And again,
just because while we're thinking about it,
there's some flexibility with this chronology. But so I'm going to briefly talk about The Hour of the Dragon. Okay. The Hour of the Dragon is a novel that the first part of the book is basically just a rewrite of this story of the Scarlet Citadel. Yeah. It starts out Conan is captured in a is that the next one?
Yeah. So yeah. I bought a book of Conan short stories a long time ago. It was on sale. Bought it. So all of these, while they are available
for free online,
I have been reading them in my Kindle version. And immediately after this is The Hour of the Dragon, Conan the Conqueror, which I think I'm actually going to... Well, I need to read the next story before I can read this, but
yeah.
But so far, I really like Conan, so
without going too spoilery, it follows the same general plot of the Scarlet Citadel, which, brief recap, Conan gets a cry from help from a neighbor, like, hey, I'm being attacked by a rival, could you come help? Conan shows up with 5,000 knights.
And I think it's kind of shitty that he specifies, like, I don't need much help, I just need you to raise morale.
Yeah,
so
he's like, I just want you here with like 1,000 knights to help raise morale. Conan, being a nice guy, like it specifically says, like he was being nice, shows up with 5,000 knights,
which is more like, what is it, 5 times more than they asked for. He was like, okay, well, I'm gonna really show up and help.
And this other guy, turns out it was a trap. These 2 other folks were not fighting; they were actually allied, and they end up capturing Conan. Although, if they had not had a wizard with them,
they still probably
I don't know that they would have got him. Because, like, there's, like, a whole section of the story where they're, like, having a conversation while Conan is just over there, like...
Killing
anyone who will get near him. And they're, like, having a conversation,
like, what do we do now?
What the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
And they're finally like, you know what? Let's just shoot him. Let's just shoot him from a distance. Like, let's get a bunch of archers and mow him down. And this wizard...
It's like, no, we aren't killing him.
Yeah. I can't remember the bad wizard's name.
I'll look it up since I've got my phone out.
I remember the other wizard's name, which we'll get to. So this wizard owns the Scarlet Citadel.
It was Sotha.
Sotha is like, nope, I got it. He captures Conan and takes him back to the Scarlet Citadel and locks him in a dungeon that is filled with horrors. And then they're like, okay, we're going to go conquer Aquilonia now. And they're off doing that.
I'm going to leave you to get et.
Yeah. By a giant
what?
80-foot snake. Like a pale, never seen the light of day, creepy snake.
Enormous fucking
right?
snake.
And so Conan goes through this dungeon to try and find a way out, and finds a wizard, freeing him. He was Sotha's rival.
Which was interesting, because, like,
I definitely want to talk about that scene.
Okay. Well,
because that was really cool. But then he frees this wizard. The wizard, in turn, helps him get free, and helps him. Like, Conan's like, I could stop things. I could end this invasion, but I can't get there quickly enough. And this guy's like, oh shit, man, fuck, hop on this thing. I'm a summon.
Like, bruh, let me Gandalf you.
Yeah,
let me take care of this.
Yeah. It's an Eldritch horror. It's not a.
Don't
not
look
a
too
evil.
close.
Yeah,
that's another question I had, by the way, is what you think that was.
I think it was a Night Gaunt
Really?
type of creature, or actually, you know what I really envisioned? Have you seen Heavy Metal, the movie, the cartoon?
Not in a
Heavy
long
Metal
time.
2000. She rides on these winged, almost look like pterodactyls, but they don't have legs. I don't think.
So legit, I thought it. I honestly ended up just deciding it was like a wyvern or a dragon because it says something about a sinuous neck.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know,
I
what?
kind of envisioned something similar to like an
they
eldritch pterodactyl.
They probably had a name for a dragon though. They've mentioned dragons before in this, I think. So maybe
here's
it wouldn't
the
have been
thing.
a dragon.
They mentioned this. It's in this story, I think, or it may have been in the previous one. I can't remember. One of these two stories. They mention that someone had eyes that glowed red like a vampire.
Right, dude.
Okay.
I specifically noted that. That was last time.
Yeah. Which would lead me to believe that there are vampires in the Conan setting. Tell me that wouldn't be a badass story.
Dude.
Like,
yeah.
No, that's a story I want. I want Conan v. Vampire. Yeah. So, anyway, but yeah, so this guy gives Conan a flying mount. Conan, rises to...
Pimps away.
Yeah, pimp slaps the person who
dude,
tried
how great
to betray
is
him.
it the way he kills that dude?
Yeah, that was amazing.
It's so good.
And, saves the day. And, the litter robot just cut on for some reason. Okay, cool.
It's a ghost.
It's a ghost. We have a ghost cat. No worries. But yeah, so that's kind of the recap. And the Hour of the Citadel, or the Hour of the Dragon, has kind of a similar plot, but...
Oh, it's not a straight retelling? It's not like just...
No, it instead of him going straight back to the capital, he ends up having to go on a quest to find something that will enable him to... So he goes off on this quest and then comes back.
Okay.
So the initial part is very similar, and then it diverts
to
be a novel-length adventure. So that sounds pretty baller.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of the story, and I like this one much more than last month's. It's still not as much as the first two.
Right. I think I agree, because I think the section of him lost in the dungeony place was very much kind of what I want out of a Conan.
Yeah, it was. He's still the king. He's still got this kingdom off there, but it's very much he is having to adventure.
Right.
He's literally going through a dungeon of horrors, and it's badass.
Yeah, it's creepy, and there's a lot of eldritch horror-iness going on.
So I want to talk about how he had imprisoned the wizard Peleus, I think is Peleus.
Peleus, I think is his
name.
All right,
so Peleus, the wizard who's in prison, is basically wrapped up in a plant.
Is that plant kind of like the plant that knocked him out in the second story?
No, that was what knocked him out in the... So here's the thing. What knocked him out in the first story, or the second story, was the Black Lotus.
Right, and they do reference the Black Lotus again.
No, in this one, it's the Purple Lotus. The Purple Lotus paralyzes. The Black Lotus kills.
Okay.
Because I thought that same thing. Oh, didn't this is the same stuff? No, it's the Purple Lotus. That's how Sotha captures him. Because he hits him with the Purple Lotus.
He hits him with the didn't he have like a...
I think so, with like Purple Lotus, and that paralyzes Conan.
Right.
And so the Black Lotus is what killed, because it was the dust. It was in both of the first few stories. Because the powder Black Lotus kills all the lions in Tower of the Elephant, and then they reference the Black Lotus in the Queen of the
because that's what lays him out, and everybody gets got by the horrors. The flying.
So
flying monkeys, was that what it was?
It was something like that.
Something like that.
So, but yeah, this one takes the Eldritch stuff and amps it up to 11. There's just a huge.
I feel like this is the most Eldritch horror one. Actually,
the Queen of the Black Coast, how that ended.
I was going to say, other than that one.
Yeah.
But I feel like not necessarily, because the Tower of the
Elephant had that. Yeah. They all have really strong, like that. I think that's the thing that would surprise people. And I hope that people who are coming into this, what you expected of Conan and what you found,
because
quite
I
the
had
same.
never read any Conan before we started this.
There's a reason him and H.P. Lovecraft were such good friends, and writing so many letters.
But see, that's the thing is, I feel like my deal with like Lovecraftian horror, I love the concept, but the stories they're only so good to me. But if you work them into this like this is.
It's a great spice added to the story, but it's too strong on its own.
It's not even that it's too strong on its own. It's just
well, if you play up the unknowable, nameless, those stories. Like I love Lovecraft, but those stories can drag. A lot of them don't have a lot of action
because it gets a lot of you not being able to picture or understand what's happening.
And this has. It's that Eldritch horror, but a lot of action, too.
Right. It has a concrete nature to the way it expresses itself, which actually brings me to my point about what I like about soft magic in these stories.
Okay.
So, for those who don't understand, there's a difference between hard magic and soft magic. Hard magic is magic that have rules. The general consensus is you have magic with rules. You are then able to use those to solve problems because you understand how the rules are supposed to work. So the person reading doesn't feel like it's unearned.
It's always internally consistent.
Right. Soft magic is more used for awe, shock, amazement, value, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a spectrum. You kind of try and balance it out depending on the story you're telling.
How some people view it is like some people don't like soft magic because they feel like soft magic, if it's done poorly, it's you've just pulled something out. You've just pulled magic out of your ass to solve the problem. Yeah. Whereas in hard magic, you know the rules, and so if someone uses magic to solve a problem, you know it was legit.
Right, exactly, and that's me.
And so if you want, I would argue probably the best example of hard magic writing going on today is Brandon Sanderson.
100%.
And he's literally the Sanderson laws of magic,
which are fantastic. Yeah. And is kind of where I got that argument.
Yeah, I write soft magic.
Do you? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Howard Marsh is very, very soft magic.
So the thing so when it comes to the difference in magic, right? So recently I've found that I've been enjoying soft magic a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
That's because I can appreciate the added mystery that it brings to a story, but I think the correct way to use it is soft magic that results in concrete effects. So soft magic that is used to, in these Conan stories, what are they usually used to? To summon a creature, which then you can contend with.
Yeah.
They're still very impressive, very powerful, and deadly, but it's not something you cannot defeat.
Right.
I think that's the best way to look at it. So in the Black Company, a lot of the magic there is soft.
Yes. It's a super soft magic system.
But a lot of the time it is kind of... I feel like you can grapple with what they create.
Yeah, no, I would argue that the Black Company is a good example of
soft magic done well.
Yeah,
yeah, I think so too. But that's kind of where I was getting with this.
It's partly, and I think part of what makes it work so well is because you see it on a spectrum. Like you see the minor magics of Goblin and One Eye, and then you see the major magics of like Soul Catcher in them. And while they are wildly different, and there aren't really hard and fast rules, it's still fairly consistent. Like you see that Goblin and One Eye can achieve similar stuff.
It just takes a lot
longer. So it doesn't have really rules per se. But you can see that there is a loose construction to it.
Right, and I can appreciate that. Yeah. But like with Conan, that's what I love so much about it is like thinking back, most of the magic that I remember from these short stories don't involve things that are nebulous that you cannot stop.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stories you'll read spells where people they're just susceptible. Like it's just, it's a spell, it's going to kill you. Oh, it's a fireball. Yeah. Ain't nothing you can do about that. It's a fucking fireball.
Right.
But this is like, I'm going to summon this very powerful, malevolent, creepy thing. Good luck fighting it.
Yeah.
But if you can fight it because you're fucking Conan and you're a goddamn baller, then you can. And I think that's the best way to use soft magic.
You know what I wish we could... I wish we could do on here that I think would tickle your pickle.
What's up?
Elric.
That's what. So last episode I mentioned how I was trying to find something in the 70s or something, and I found.
You were looking
that was
at
Elric.
Michael Moorcock.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
yeah,
what I was.
Elric.
Because my dad has told me.
I don't think they're short stories. Is the thing.
They aren't, but I was looking to see if there were short stories.
The novels are not long, but they are definitely too long to consistently be like, oh, we're going to read one of these a month.
Right, because one of the issues was anytime I've mentioned fantasy back in like growing up, that was the thing my dad always. He's like, dude, I loved Moorcock. You should read, and I just never done it.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, one of these days I want to.
Yeah, I've read a few of them. One of the most hauntingly beautiful scenes I've ever read in a book came out of a Elric book.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just have to read it.
Did you ever listen to Hawkwind? You should listen to Hawkwind. They're more like power metal kind of stuff,
which I love.
Yeah, and it's if I remember correctly, Hawkwind is a character from the Elric saga, and they sing a lot of Elric-y kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of Elric references in heavy metal. Elric. So Elric, it's a lot of the main character Elric. He has like pacts with like he's the emperor. He's the emperor of Melnibone, and he has inherited these ancestral pacts with these eldritch powers that he can call upon. And it's really cool.
Is that generally considered sword and sorcery too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now his
it's a
stuff,
different brand of sword and sorcery.
It is. It's also multiversal. A lot.
Dude, that's even more.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, so a lot of he has all these characters, and sometimes they meet. Some of them are reincarnations of previous heroes. It's called like the Eternal Champion kind of deal. That they have the like this guy is a reincarnation of Elric kind of deal. That type of stuff. So yeah, no, you should check it out. So here's the thing. I wanted to reread it not long ago. I was like, you know what? I want
to do a special.
I want to do well. I want to read like the Elric books, and there's like 9 of them. And there's not a good way to do it right now, but I think Golan's the British publisher. I think they're supposed to be coming out with like a good anthology series of it. I've kind of been holding off for there to be a good, clear, easy to grasp anthology series.
But we do know that they are in a certain order.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, because I think I looked for Kindle versions, and they're just it's like it ain't none.
Oh.
And so I need to look again and see what's out there.
Well, let's put a pin in that because that would be a great. So, but anything back to the story.
Yeah.
I liked this story because a lot of the magic was just like creation of physical things you can contend with.
Yeah.
So like calling down the monstrosity that flew Conan where he needed to go. In the previous story, the creature, the
creature from the Queen of the Black Coast.
Right.
These timeless, ageless horrors.
Yeah, I think that is the single best way to use soft magic in a story. I feel.
Well, it's also I just really enjoy how all these sorcerers are portrayed. They are all mind-numbingly powerful. But it's from dealing with these intensely dangerous things, and I just love it. I love they're so powerful because they deal with the unknown. They deal with what's beyond.
But it's also not without risk because in the short story that we previously read, the character is summoning this terrifying horde to send it off and go kill the guy, kill Escalante, and as he's doing it, he feels the presence created behind him. For all intents and purposes, feel it breathing on his neck in terror.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Continue casting the spell. Compel it. Do not look at it."
Yeah.
And then it goes off and does its thing, and he's like, okay, well, I'm good.
Yeah.
But what if he had looked?
Yeah.
Maybe it would have tore his freaking face off.
I will say, I have one problem with this story. As I was reading
it... I've got problems with it. But
I had one glaring large problem with it.
Okay.
These wizards, again, I love how these wizards are portrayed. They're so powerful, yada, yada, yada. The way Sotha just runs from Conan at the end on his magical steed, which that was cool.
Yeah.
He just runs. He just runs and runs and runs. And until basically he gets got by the critter that Peleus had summoned.
No, it was Peleus.
Was it Peleus?
Yeah, because it mentions how it opens its throat and talks with a human voice. So he basically speaks.
Well,
I think he shapeshifted.
I knew that Peleus had sent it, yeah.
I think, and the way I interpreted it is that he was that creature. Like, he turned himself into it and was like, ah, bitch.
Yeah. So, I knew it was agent of Peleus, actually Peleus something. I knew it was Peleus at work. But to me, it didn't seem internally consistent because he's such a badass. Does he really not have any spell or anything that he can do that he just has to run? No, that said, could be a testament to just how badass Conan is. But that story, that part of the story kind of took me out of it a little bit.
So here's how I interpret it. At that point in time, what I think is he did not understand how Conan had done what he did. So he's like, is he magic? What the hell's going on? I need to get away. Like, I can't beat him physically. Yeah. I need to stay away from him.
Yeah.
But if he has some magic that I don't understand, I need to stay away from him until I can figure out what the hell's going on.
Okay.
Because he's gonna want me dead. I need to get away so that I can then figure out what happened, and I can kill him so that he doesn't come for me.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation. But still, it's imperfect.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. I can. That helps a little bit. I don't know how much I buy it, but I can.
Right.
I can run with that.
Oh no! But
it was still. I mean, it was still a good story.
But also, it could have legitimately also been that he was like, how did he survive? The only way he could have survived is Peleus. If Peleus is involved, I have to get the hell out of here.
And I think he does actually make some.
He says that, but it's after the run though. Yeah. It's like after he's fallen.
So, no, it was good. It was good.
It was good, but again, King Conan is not my favorite Conan.
No, it was this one. I like this story better than the last one because we do get more of him adventuring. Oh man, probably my favorite scene. I really like the scene where he's freeing Peleus. How Peleus was imprisoned was just super cool to me. That plant, kind of like
so
sucking
weird.
all. Yeah, it was so weird and out there. I just really liked it.
And I like that Conan wasn't actually trying to save him. He was just like, this dude is in.
Yeah.
I should just put him out of his misery.
As I'm reading, I was like, oh, Conan's going to just fucking kill this guy, right?
Yeah. And then that's why he was kind of like, wait, what? He's all, wait, hold on.
My favorite scene that was so badass was Conan goes up to the door and the eunuch is on the other side laughing at him, and Conan kills him through the door.
Yeah.
I fucking died. That was so good to me. I loved that. Now, it did fuck him a little bit, but I love that so much.
My favorite scene was when the fucking douchebag that took over is just laughing at all the peasants.
Oh, yeah.
And then out of the sky, he comes, jumps down. He's like, I'm going to fight you. Swing, parry. I'm not even going to try and strike you down. I'm going to pick you up and throw you off this tower.
That was amazing.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
And the fact they went to the detail of being like, oh, he splatted.
Yeah.
There was a splat.
And I'll say that, like, this is, you don't really expect, but there's a lot of references to, like, brain matter splattering in these last two stories.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Which you don't really expect coming from a story from, like, the 1930s.
But hey, man, it made perfect sense.
Yeah, no, it totally did.
So I liked, so there are things that I liked more about this story than the last, but there are also things that made me not like it as much. Yeah. And I feel like as a whole, I probably like this one more.
Yeah.
But it's close. And also, just a point of contention, you'll appreciate this. You know I hate dream sequences.
Yeah.
That previous one, I love that dream sequence. It was simple. It wasn't too much. And
it wasn't, like, there's so much of, I hate dream sequences that are, tell me if this is why you hate dream sequences, because this is what I hate about dream sequences that I hate. They're needlessly obscure.
I can appreciate the obscurity in some way, but it's only useful if you do it sparingly and it doesn't take too long.
Yeah. This one...
Because if you don't know what the hell's going on...
That dream sequence was straight and to the point. Right. It had some cool imagery.
Yeah.
But it was cool imagery, but it didn't seem like dream imagery. It just seemed like some cool imagery.
But, so, that was... So, in this one, I liked the... Like I said, traveling to the dungeon and doing the adventure thing. I don't like Conan in large-scale battles.
Yeah.
I've discovered that.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Like, I'm not...
But I figured you'd like this because it has a siege.
Well,
briefly.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some fucking... tactician, strategy guru. But I didn't really buy that battle scene. It didn't...
The numbers were too off.
Yeah, the numbers were too off, and and partly it's I've been reading the Spellmonger series. I had to take a break on it.
I still have only read the first one, but I really like the first one.
So here, let's do a short episode on Spellmonger.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about Spellmonger in a minute, but we'll do that. So yeah, I've read this scene done better. Recently, and so I just. But from what I've gathered is in other stories where it's about Conan like leading like bands of people, Howard typically ends up having Conan split off and go do shenanigans.
Which kind of happens at the end of this.
Yeah, he
charges up and fights. Yeah.
So, but I gotta say, if you think about it, other than Queen of the Black Coast, well, okay. We'll say especially the first story and the last story, he doesn't really beat the bad guy.
Well, because a lot of times the bad guy has to do with magic. And they ain't fuck all he can do.
Right, yeah. So like,
which is great about the way that the ending
so
of this...
Queen, Tower of the Elephant, the Eldritch being that he freed, beat the dungeon for him.
Which, by the way, that might be my favorite thing that has been done in any of these books or any of these short stories is just having that creature and the that was so cool.
And then in this one, he doesn't actually beat Sotha. Peleus comes in.
How great is the ending though, where he's just like, man,
it is.
Fuck sorcerers, let me get a drink.
Yeah, no, that was badass. But then even in the last one, he only killed that thing because
he had
the symbol of the Phoenix, which was given to him, which still it took his ability to do. It was really only in Queen of the Black Coast that he kind of on his own wrecked the thing on it, and straight up kills it in the end. Mm-hmm. Well, no, because even then the ghost of his girlfriend comes in.
Yeah,
but you could argue that it was him being who he was. Got her to love him to that degree.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's.
I think it's cool because it shows the disconnect between humanity and the power of the magic.
Yeah.
It's like,
you
don't win against this stuff unless you have this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, he's getting away with it because he...
And part of why Conan is so cool is because he's such a fucking badass. So to beat him, you can't really just throw a bunch of guys at him.
Doesn't work.
You've got to go, way outside the norm.
That's the thing is with him, it's really...
I love it.
It's really cool because it's like, are you human? You're fucked.
Yeah.
Are you not human? Then he's fucked.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Like, there's a huge gap. There's like people, then a huge gap, then him, then a huge gap, then magic. And it's like, okay, what do we have to do to help him overcome that big gap so he can survive?
Yeah, I would like to read some stuff. I don't know if
it's very Guts from Berserk like.
Yeah.
Because like he's an utter badass. If you're human, you're fucked.
I was going to say I'd like to read a Conan series that was done like the Vampire Hunter D series. Because in the Vampire Hunter D series, D is an incredible badass. Mm-hmm. And typically how those novels are structured...
Yeah, I haven't read any of them.
I've read the first 6. How those novels are typically structured. And it does get really formulaic, especially in later books, from what I've been told. But he runs up on someone roughly as bad as him, They end up beating him almost to death.
He gets away somehow.
He gets away. He comes back and wins. So I would like to see a Conan where he runs up against a Cull. You know.
Is Cole got stories or is that just comics?
Yes, there are stories. Oh. But if I remember correctly, Cole chronologically predates Conan by quite some time. He's Atlantean, I think. Uh-huh. And in the Conan
world, is it from the same world?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think so. Don't hold me to that, but I think so. I think that Cole is from the Atlantean. Uh-huh. And it would have been long dead by the time, because Atlantis is sunk by the time Conan happens. Okay. I think. And then Bran McMorn is another one. I don't know if he's in the same world, but he's a Pict. And they make a lot of references to Picts. Right. And so I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know if he's the same setting as Conan or if it's a different setting or what, but similar style, I believe.
So does... I don't know much about Cull. Does that mean...
Actually, the last story, the Phoenix on the Sword, if I remember correctly, that was originally a Cull, the Conqueror story. And he changed it to Conan. And actually, some of the passages are word for word identical.
So my question is, does Cull the Conqueror also have Eldritch Horror stuff in it?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever read any Cull. Yeah. The only stuff by Howard I've read, I believe, is the Conan stuff. I've never read Solomon Kane. I've never read Brad McMorn. I've never read Cull that I'm aware of. Might be something to look into.
Yeah, we might have to. Because okay, so let's kind of recap our general opinion on Conan.
Yeah. Yeah. We finished all 4 stories. The recap.
So, as a person that has not read any Conan, I fucking loved this. This was so much fun. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I will admit, if you had to guess which one I like the most, which one do you think it is?
Tower of the Elephant?
No.
Queen of Black Coast?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That was so fucking good.
Yeah. It really was.
It was everything I wanted out of a Conan story, which is really weird because when I think of Conan and someone told me, "Oh, he becomes a pirate," I'm like, I don't really want that. Yeah. Like that's not really for me. Like, yeah. But it worked out super cool. Yeah. Because I liked his. Honestly, it was super brief, but I really liked his relationship with her. Yeah. Like just the fact that they were both. She was a leader of men. He was a utter badass, and they were like, "Yo, I'm kind of into this. You want to hook up? Let's do this." Yeah. And they were both awesome. Yeah. They were really, and
it was the most horrifying of the Eldritch Horrors.
Yeah, which I think is super cool, but also, again, he kind of overcame it, but not really by himself, but that's perfectly fine, because...
Yeah. It was done really well.
Yeah, I think that one was the best. In my opinion, that was my favorite and the best of the stories that we've done.
I think Tower of the Elephant was my favorite. I think.
That's a close second.
And it's because I weirdly heavily associate Conan with cities, because I read a bunch of Conan comics growing up where he was in cities.
That makes sense.
And to me, like the Tower of the Elephant, like him being the thief running around in this like crazy hobo stabby city, like that
is Conan.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that said, I think I've read all of Conan, but it was some time ago. Mm-hmm. So like as I'm reading these stories, like little dribs and drabs, like, oh, I think I remember that. Like Tower of the Elephant, I know I had reread. I know I've read it back in the day, and I've reread it at least once before we reread it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I love a good sword and sorcery. I wish it was open source. We would do Thieves World. It was a shared world project set up by Lynn Aspirin, and it was a kind of sword and sorcery. What it was all these authors came together and wrote all these stories in this city with like a thieves guild, and like they had free reign to like use characters from each other's stories and stuff like that. And it was very gritty, and it was really unique for its time.
Maybe we can do so I feel like we could do specials at some point.
Yeah.
With things that are books that we buy.
Yeah.
So in that case, if we were to do that, I could buy that anthology. You could buy that anthology. Our listeners could, and we'll just go through the whole thing.
Yeah, they end up doing a bunch of anthologies of it, but we would just do the first one. Mm-hmm. Overall, really like this. I love sword and sorcery kind of stuff. Like just the.
I had never because I feel like
I never want to play a barbarian ever in anything. Not any game that I ever play, D&D or computer. Do I want to play a barbarian? But I do enjoy reading about a barbarian.
I feel like I have had fun as a barbarian in D&D before.
Yeah.
But you have to... The mechanics of combat is not where you get your fun. It all is going to come from you. You have to invest in it.
And it's typically just not the kind of character I want to play, you know? Because
I would love to see you play one, though, because every time we play, you always play a similar kind of spellcaster. Yeah. It's like... Someday, I would like to see you play not.
Well, it's one of those things. I get to play so rarely.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of character I most enjoy playing. Mm-hmm. So when I get a chance, I jump on it, typically.
Dude, we should do another short episode about our D&D campaign.
So. We could. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of the one we're playing right now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So you got anything you want to add?
Just that. Oh, another thing.
Yeah.
The movies.
Oh, yeah.
So I have not seen them.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to be watching them sometime soon.
Yeah.
But my question is, are the movies based on any short stories specifically, or...
I honestly cannot remember.
Mm-hmm.
They have pros and cons. So the old ones from Arnold Schwarzenegger are great.
I still kind of want to see the new one anyways.
But they're a little camp.
I'm okay with that. Dude, I'm a guy that grew up on Beastmaster.
Well,
Love Beastmaster.
Okay. These are better than Beastmaster.
But Beastmaster was... How dare you? He had two... Hold on. Beastmaster had two ferrets that would steal stuff from people, and it was amazing. One of my coworkers mentioned it. We were talking about... I don't know how this came up. Someone was like, I want a ferret. And she was like Beastmaster. I was like... And everyone else is there so young now, since everybody but me is left.
Well, let's be real. Beastmaster... it came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, it may have come out before I was born. I don't know exactly when it came out, but
I think
those are old movies.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But yeah, so there's the whole sword and sorcery genre of film as well. Red Sonja, Cole.
Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it.
And they're all pretty good. I mean,
they're fun.
If you like it, if you like that kind of stuff.
My thing is, if you know what you're getting when you go into it, you're good.
The new Conan is... Have
you seen it? That one?
Yeah, it's fine. To me, it doesn't have quite the camp of the old ones.
I feel like,
but that said, the opening scene is the most badass scene.
I just feel like
movie ever.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I feel like the new one, I haven't seen it. Maybe it's not good.
Yeah.
But I feel like just from like the clips I've seen, aesthetically, it feels like it would be more aesthetically accurate to the short stories.
This is no spoilers, but you know Conan was born on a battlefield.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, Conan was. It references it in one of these stories. I think
Maybe.
Tower of the Elephant. I think it referenced that he was born on a battlefield.
Okay.
But yeah, Conan was born on a battlefield, and the new Conan
starts that.
It
that's
starts
cool.
with that. And you know who his dad is?
Who?
Ron Perlman, and it works.
I can see that.
Yeah, he's a blacksmith. It works.
So, do they use the quotes from the Arnold Schwarzenegger one?
I can't remember.
One?
It's been a long time since I've seen any of them. I saw the new Conan when it came out.
Yeah,
and
it's Jason Momoa, so it'll be cool. I like Jason Momoa.
Yeah,
so
it was good. It was good.
I'm definitely gonna watch.
But it wasn't super. I'll say it was good, but it wasn't super memorable.
I don't need it to be. I just need it to be fun. That's what I need from Conan.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I love the Conan. So I
would recommend watching all the movies.
Just greatly appreciate the stories that we read, and we'll be reading more. Probably be buying some novels.
So next month, you need to read A Year and a Day in Old Therodine. It's really good. Scott Lynch, the guy who wrote Gentlemen Bastards, which is the Lives of Locke and More, is the first book.
Which I feel like it's just going to be a very, in my opinion, it would be just a different type of story because what I'm used to reading from him, like how does it?
No, you'll like it.
No, I'm not saying I won't like it. I'm just like...
It's very gentleman bat. Like if we're being real, it's pretty gentleman bat.
That's what I was gonna say. It was like I feel like it's not gonna have the sword and sorcery feel, which is what I want.
No, it's not. It's not really sword and sorcery. Because I tried to find another good sword and sorcery story. That was the idea. Was we read these 4 Conan stories and then we read a non-Conan sword and sorcery story. I could not fucking find one. Like I did. If you go online and search free to read sword and sorcery story, like you know what pops up? Fucking Conan. And I couldn't find one. And then like I was reading on a forum, something like, "Oh, well, you should check out A Year and a Day in Old Theridine." And I was like, "That doesn't sound very sword and sorcery, but sure, well, fuck it." It's not at all sword and sorcery. Okay. It's fucking fantasy heist. It's fantasy heist novella. It's really fucking good. So it's going to turn from, oh hey, here's a different example, to just a straight up palate cleanser.
Okay, that's cool. Then it's a good idea that I suggested we kind of do the wrap up for Conan.
Yeah, because it's not sword and sorcery.
Okay.
So unfortunately, but it's still real fucking good. So
I wonder, do you know if Simon R. Green wrote any short stories of Deathstalker stuff?
I don't know that Simon R. Green's written many short stories. I'd have to look. You know what you need to read by Simon Green? The Hawk and Fisher series.
That's the
married couple that are cops in a fantasy city. Mm-hmm. It's really good stuff.
Okay.
It's like 6 books. You can buy them in 2 omnibuses. I've read them. They're real good.
Yeah, I know, because I remember you mentioned.
He gets a lot of. I've learned that he gets a lot of flack. Really.
Dude,
he's not.
You know how I feel about the Deathstalker stuff, so I don't care.
Basically, the general take on Simon Green is he's a brilliant idea guy. His execution is just always like never ends as good as you hope it would. Is kind of the consensus.
Cool. Like I get that, and that.
No, I love it, but
that does bother me. But
it came up in a thread on Reddit, and I was reading. It's like, man, I fuck y'all. I still love the Deathstalker series.
Deathstalker. Oh God,
I was like, and I love Hawk and Fisher. Like y'all can get fucked.
I like what I like. Fuck off.
Yeah. So, all right. I think we're going to crank out a few more short episodes. We'll be dropping them in here and there, just willy-nilly, as basically whenever I feel like fucking editing them up and dropping them. So, so read A Year and a Day in Old Theridine by the end of November. That'll be when that episode drops. And, as always, may the blessing of the beard be upon you. Thanks for listening. Please give us a like, review, or subscribe on the podcatcher of your choice. And you can support us directly at patreon.com/talesbybob. And as always, feel free to stop by our website, booksbeardsbooze.com.